It definitely is that kind of party. Welcome, good evening, Mzansi. Welcome to Tuesday. This Tuesday edition of TrendingSA right here on S3. My name is, of course, King Loot, and I'm cruising through the week with some of my favorite people. They definitely paid me to say that. I hope you guys know. Sitting not so pretty next to me, we have the not so reigning emperor of a place very far called Mlazi. His name is Mablair. What
Loot,
do you do, baby?
I love what you're wearing today. It actually channels the energy that you are giving to me.
Dark, where the stars shine
witchy,
low.
yeah.
And of course, we can't forget the king of the airways. I like him, so he gets a really cool intro. Here to add some sugar and spice and all things nice. We've got the flavor.
Whatever you want, I got it. Spice, sugar, just like you said.
Are you okay?
It's going to be a long show.
You can leave now, it's okay.
Yeah, thanks.
We got this. So our guest tonight creates commanding works heavy with spiritual and political symbolism. The artist explores issues around spirituality, commemoration, and African knowledge systems. She processes her dreams as a medium through a lens of the multiplicity, of existence across space and time, asking questions about the remembrance of ancestry. Part of her work has examined the processes of myth-making that are used to construct history, calling attention to the absence of the black female body in both the narratives and physical spaces of historical commemoration. All the way from Norwich, welcome, Sthembile Msezane.
Yay!
Hi, welcome to TrendingSA. How are you?
Yo, hope you're good.
I'm fine, but don't say I'm from Norwich. I'm from there. I'm from Johannesburg, but I live in Cape Town. I just happen to be in Norwich at the moment for a fellowship.
That's where you are joining us from. We have to flex and tell people. We don't just speak to locals. We actually speak to people who are international.
I'm actually glad that you're still rooted here in more ways than one. So don't be thinking it's home there. Maybe just temporarily. So, let's talk about your work. It's premised around deconstructing, challenging and disrupting the norm, while obviously using powerful imagery to communicate your message of identity, spirituality. And this is quite evident in your film, Isimo. In fact, we need to take a look at this. Now, I have to see more of that, right? So, tell us about the conceptualization of the film. What themes are you exploring here?
Yeah. So Isimo essentially is acknowledging that the world has been very ill prior to the pandemic. We've struggled with so many issues, and yet sometimes we fail to address these issues. We just move on to something else. Life is so fast-paced that we kind of feel that we just need to continue moving. Right. But in Isimo, I am looking at themes of wellness, so physical wellness, spiritual, and mental, which during the pandemic, a lot of people are struggling with, actually. And so in this short film, there's a matriarchal figure who kind of takes us through a journey of trying to find this wellness. And she's saying that through adversities, we need to just try and find what it is to live, to feel alive, and what makes us feel fulfilled, in essence. Yeah.
I'm curious to find out from you, how would you describe your journey of self-actualization, while grappling with the socio-political issues in SA, and how does it inform your work?
Yeah, so I recently turned 30.
Yes.
Yay! 30. Happy belated.
Thank you. But I think I've always kind of just seen the world through the eyes of a child. I'm very curious about my environment, and when things don't make sense, I ask why. I want to know, I want to find out, I want to connect with people. And so you see this a lot in my work, where I realized walking into the city that there isn't enough representations of Black women. Why? Why can't I see myself in these places when women have liberated South Africa? When women have contributed so much to our societies. Right. So it's very much about that within my work, just like the curiosity of not seeing a thing or seeing a thing and commenting on it.
Right.
So your work speaks a lot on socio-political and economic issues. Your performances are bold, provocative, and in a subtle posturing of pieces, it's also very loud, and we love loud in this house. Like, I personally love loud. Hey, how do you then classify or even position your politics?
Okay. So my politics are about the human condition, basically. What does it mean to be human? How do we feel whole, you know? I want to feel the pride of being a woman, a Black woman. So what do I do if I can't see myself within these environments, when I can't see representations of people who are just like me? It's also about wanting to feel things like safety and fed, you know, I love food, but how do I do that if I don't have access to land, you know? So my work is very much about the human condition, and human dignity is actually a constitutional right in South Africa. And in essence, this is what I'm addressing with the politics in my work.
What sort of commentary would you like to spark when it comes to your work?
I guess I'm trying to air out festering wounds.
Cool.
I think we're very quick to want to move forward, you know, to forget. And my work is a lot about remembering. And there's a lot of intergenerational trauma that we deal with in our daily lives, and it presents itself in different ways. We just want to move forward. And it's like, how do you move forward when you haven't healed the trauma? So my work is, the commentary in my work is that let us talk about these things. Let us look at the wounds, and let us solve what we can solve about the broken systems that we live within, or whatever it may be, whether it be in our personal lives, in our families, or structurally within broader society.
I think it's a very important thing that you bring up around, you know, talking about some of these issues, because very often we're just expected to move on and pretend as if nothing happened. But I want us to zoom into some of the thought-provoking stuff you've done, really powerful performances that you've staged over the years. In fact, if you can just talk us through the messaging that you wanted to convey here, starting with this one. I mean, this is a Heritage Day performance in 2013, staged next to the Louis Botha statue in Cape Town.
Yes, so this was the first of the series, of the public holiday series. And this is where the whole series came together, basically, where I was finding what it is that I was really talking about, which was that there are no representations, or there's very limited representations of Black women in the whole of South Africa. And that gave birth to the rest of the series.
Here's what you did on Women's Day in 2014, a performance staged in Freedom Park next to a taxi rank, Walanga, with bare-breasted, you were bare-breasted, yeah? Wearing traditional regalia.
Yes. So this was in comment of, I think it was 2012, when in North taxi rank, two teenagers, 16-year-olds, were harassed by, like, I think it was about 16
Yes, I
men.
remember that.
Yeah, and it was close to a taxi. It was at the taxi rank, actually. And so I felt like on this day that every day, you know, women are disregarded. Women are not necessarily treated right in public spaces and in private. And then on this one day, Women's Day, we have to celebrate women. So it was kind of juxtaposing those kind of two very real environments that we find ourselves in as women. The celebration in certain kind of roles as mother, as daughter, but also just the other side of it, of being violated in our daily existences.
Right, and then on this momentous day in 2015, when Rhodes fell, you staged this performance.
Sure.
So this was the Zimbabwean bird from Great Zimbabwe, which is actually a monument and not a person, but I embodied this monument.
Sure.
And on this day, this bird that came to me through a dream made itself present, and it wasn't necessarily for the Rhodes Must Fall movement, but it was such a magical moment that brought two worlds together to make history.
Thank you so much, Mama, for your time and for your beautiful work, and all the best moving forward. I know that you're working in a very conflicting and complicated space, so good luck and all the best to you.
Thank you very much, and good luck with all your endeavors, guys. Bye.
Thank you
Don't
so
make
much.
South Africa great again.
Don't do that. It's time for us to go on a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we meet a model who's taken the global stage by storm in our My Life segment. You don't want to miss this. See you after this.
Welcome back. You're still tuned into TrendingSA right here on News 3. Our next guest is a rising South African model from Eldorado Park who defied name-calling and stereotypical labeling to grace the cover of Vogue magazines. Listen, he joins us to talk about his rise to becoming a sought-after model in Europe, not just here, in Europe. Misrepresentation and breaking boundaries. It's time for My Life with Aphile Carter.
Well, I must say, Aphile, welcome, first of all. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's such an
Listen,
honor.
There's something about the Carter part.
That's what I'm saying, though.
The Carter for me.
There's
And
a
we
certain
actually
swag
share
about it, right?
birthdays, so we twins.
Oh,
Yes.
Tall squad, what up?
Yeah, it's the Carter energy. I mean, you've previously said that growing up, you didn't feel represented.
Yes.
That you looked at mainstream media and thought you don't necessarily see yourself in there. So tell me about your lived experience, just in the context of that.
So I grew up in a time where the standard of beauty was very different from what it is right now. And people who looked like me were not celebrated. And I think it played with my consciousness or my subconscious, because then I started feeling like I'm not worthy of like being called beautiful or anything like that. And also people around me didn't look like me. I always felt ostracized or like I was the odd one out. And because of that, it affected my confidence. So I never ever thought that I would be in a career where it's about my looks or about how I look.
Right.
And, you know, here we are today.
So when you grew up in a time, in an area where you're literally called derogatory terms based on, you know, things you can't change, which is how you look, what your skin color is, your height. When do you get to a point of not letting what everybody else is saying about you affect you, and you just like kind of shrug it off and keep it moving?
You know, it definitely worked out for my benefit, because now I've learned to have thick skin.
Right.
So now I can walk into a casting and not get the job and not be offended, you know.
Right.
I've learned, and it helps with my the industry that I'm in now. You guys know how
very
difficult
hectic.
it is.
It's
Yes,
very
it's hectic. So now you need to have thick skin, and because of those experiences, I'm now at a point where nothing phases me anymore, because my validation comes from me.
Love that.
I don't need anything from anyone else.
Love
you know?
that.
So whatever you say, it doesn't matter, because I've been called 10 times worse.
You just recently featured on Vogue magazine.
Sure.
Come on, let's just take a look at that.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's sure.
Wow.
Look at that. That
Just so striking.
and beautiful.
The posture, serving, just, ooh.
Serving.
Serving. No, I just want to ask you, what did you go through when that moment came, and how did that moment come about? Like, how did you find out that you're going to be on the cover of Vogue magazine?
You know, the story is so beautiful because I just feel like all the dots connected. So what happened was I was actually casted for SA Menswear Fashion Week, and I had, naturally in Fashion Week you go for fittings and castings and all of that. So I was casted by Khomotso, and then I went for the fitting, and then the designer came. Designer happens to be Kuteria. Kuteria walks in and he's like, oh my gosh, you are so stunning, wait. He then gets on a phone call with a friend of his in London. And then the friend then looks at me on the video call, on the FaceTime. She's like, I need him. Next thing you know, passports and all of those things. So the plan was for me to go to London in December and then do my portfolio, because it's off season that time. And then when the season comes back, and then I continue with actual work. Kanti, in the background, the agency is sending out my stuff to the clients. Just check out what we have. Then Kamara was like, we need him for Vogue. Next thing you know, I'm doing Vogue. I did two. I did Vogue, and I did the Perfect magazine, which is out now.
Wow.
I just can't.
And,
That is actually such a heartwarming story.
Yes,
It's such a
blessing.
beautiful story.
I want to talk about the difference here between being on an international publication and being on a local one. I mean, is there any difference in your experience of having gone through both?
I think generally in South Africa, we tend to clap more when it's overseas than when it's local based. And you get more attention, and everyone is more like, because of the word international, because of London, and that makes you, they take you more seriously. Whereas if you're in True Love, it's like, we're used to that. But I don't think it's fair, because the work still remains the same, you know, it's still storytelling. So It shouldn't be like that, but it's generally like that in every industry.
And that's how it worked for you as well?
Yes, for me, yeah, that's how it worked as well, yes. Everyone was like, London. Then it was like, Vogue. So, yeah.
From and then to Vogue.
From nothing to something.
I love that. I love it. So I want to check you out on the runway. Let's see you walk, honey.
Yes.
Would you say you enjoy like being, on the runway, or do you prefer editorial?
I think the runway is nice because you live in the moment. It's
Right,
fast. You know,
right.
there's a lot that happens behind the scenes. You go and then you're changing clothes. And then like even on that show, I did 3 shows in one night and it was my matric dance. So I was literally changing in the parking lot and then it was a lot. So I
all
like
the stories are true about how intense it is on the
Yes,
back end. Wow.
it's worse
Yeah.
than what you guys can imagine. Yeah, that's what I love.
As a rising model, you've caught the attention of fashion enthusiasts, fashion enthusiast. So we're going to put you through a quickfire game, which we call the Fashion Rail Challenge. Are you ready?
Yes. Love it.
So we're going to ask you quickfire questions, and we want you to answer like that. Okay, cool. So if you were to become a muse to a photographer, which one of these photographers would be on your speed dial? A, Trevor Sturman.
I've actually worked with him before at AFI.
2,
I know that's
Austin
right.
Malema.
Okay.
And then 3, Cedric Nzuka. Which one?
I choose Trevor.
Trevor.
Yes.
Okay,
'Cause
great.
I think he's amazing.
Great choice.
Next level.
He is
You
next
shot
level.
Beyonce, Yura Carter, boat cutters. I
See
get
this
it.
Carter thing.
Togetherness.
So tell us about the story of you working with him.
It was behind the scenes at AFI fashion show, and the design, it was a recycling story, and then she and him had a connection, and then he came and then took pictures of us, and he's just amazing. He's sweet, he's gentle, he's just like calm,
Very.
such a beautiful
Boom.
spirit. Ooh.
Just
Has
like that.
such beautiful energy. Okay, so which designer is on your radar? Okay, we have Rich Mnisi.
2 million.
Yes. Lukanyo Mdingi. And of course, Tebe Magugu.
I choose Rich.
Yes.
So you've got that 2 million.
Yes. Within. And we look alike, that's what people say.
Oh, okay. I see it. I
From
see it.
one beautiful man to another.
Does
Yes.
he know that? Does he know that?
I don't think he'll approve.
Okay, now if you were to hijack one of these influencers reel for a day, which one would it be? So let's roll it. Mihlale Ndamase.
Uchoini.
Join
We've
me.
got Thabo Kedi Tsotetsi. And then we've also got TK Matakanye.
I love TK style. I choose TK. Or Mihlali, anyone.
What
No,
is it
but
about?
if you were to hijack their Instagram
Oh,
for
the
a day,
Instagram.
Sure.
so with their followers, whose Instagram would you go for?
I'd go for Mihlali.
100%.
Because I can imagine
Sorry,
the DMs, the people with money are there. That's where we're
Like the
going.
real blessers are there. Is that what you're saying? Ooh.
Wow, bro, bring it back, bring it back.
No, we just have to verify these things. You're also studying journalism. How is that going in the midst of everything else that you're going through, this almost surreal experience in the world you're in?
I come from a family that believes in the importance of education. My mom is a teacher. So she really wanted me to have a profession to fall back on, not just some cause, because she just feels like an educator will always be an educator. A journalist will always be a journalist. So it meant so much to me, and I took her advice. And I mean, you'll never go wrong, because with this industry, I could be here for the next 5 years, 10 years if I'm lucky, and then what next?
Right.
Not everyone gets to be a businessman or whatever after, so it's nice to have education to fall back on.
But I can see that fusion between the fashion world, modeling, and journalism. There's something there.
Yes,
But you
definitely.
work it out, because that's your thing right there. I'm just throwing it out there. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, guys.
You're an absolute star, and we wish you well. More covers to you, Vogues, etc. We'll all just be watching as you serve.
As a former model myself, I wish you well on your journey.
All right, we can cut it right there.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Please respect my career in modeling.
As we sip our tea.
I think we should, and bring it back to reality while we're at it. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be getting into #FlowersNotFists. It's a guide of the Bright Sky app, which is brought to you by Vodacom. Do not miss it. Stay with us. listen, we'll let the real dancers stand up. Welcome back to Trending SA right here on S3. All right, so it is time to go further with Vodacom. So over the last year, we've seen a significant increase in gender-based violence. In fact, our president, Cyril Ramaphosa, called it another pandemic in the country. And this is why Vodacom has launched the Bright Sky app using its core capability, technology, to address the social challenge that we're dealing with right now. And tonight, for #FlowersNotFists feature, we're going to be reviewing the Bright Sky app, which is available and ready to aid you with information and directives in moments of need.
With technology and humanity, we can go further together. Vodacom.
So Bright Sky is a free to download and use app providing support and information for anybody who may be in an abusive relationship or those concerned about someone they know. It's important to note, Mzansi, that Bright Sky is an information app and not a safety app.
The app boasts a unique South African-wide directory of specialist gender-based violence support services. So you can contact your nearest service by phone from the app, search by area name, or use your current location.
In fact, the app also features a My Journal tool where incidents of abuse can be logged in via text, audio, or even video, even photo form, without any of the content being saved on the device or the app itself.
There's also a questionnaire on the Bright Sky app called Am I at Risk, which is designed to give users an indication of the signs of potential abuse within their relationship. So you can also use the app to determine if your family or a friend is at risk. However, this should not be taken as the only indication of the health of any relationship. If you're unsure, we advise that you contact a support service or learn more about how you can help someone you know, which can be found using the app.
And now this is actually my favorite thing about the app. So the app is actually discreet and offers you an opportunity to disguise the app as another app on your device in the event that you suspect that your partner may have access to your phone or electronic device.
We spoke about technology earlier, and this app uses geolocation to provide you with information on support services which are available in South Africa near you, including a directory of, say, police stations, hospitals, even NGOs across the country.
So the Bright Sky app has information about gender-based violence, the different types of support available, tips to improve your online safety, and how to help someone you know who is experiencing gender-based violence. There's also advice and information on issues around sexual offences and domestic violence. It also provides links to further resources and information on topics around gender-based violence.
And now that we know what the app is about in terms of its features, as well as how it works, here are some few safety measures to consider. Only download Bright Sky South Africa onto a device which you feel safe in using, which is only used by you, in other words, that you have access to.
Very, 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 very important information. Before using the app's My Journal tool, make sure that you have an email address which is safe and that nobody has access to. If you need to, you can set up a new one or use an email address of someone that you trust.
And you can also help the ones you love with Vodacom's ongoing commitment to prevent gender-based violence. You can download the free Bright Sky app or call Vodacom's GBV Command Center on 0800 428 48, available 24 hours, 7 days a week for support.
Absolutely. And just like that, it is a wrap. Thank you very much for tuning into another exciting edition of Trending SA right here on S3. Love you folks, despite it all.
Did you just pull a Mamkiza there?
What do you mean?
What's that?
It's a rap.
It's a rap.
Akiri, when it's a
I'm
wrap.
wearing yellow because I'm in the yellow.
I take all that love back. Take it all back. Good night.